Hey, hello students. Today we are back again to see the fourth part of Russian Revolution. So in this part, earlier we have talked about the socialism, spread of socialism, then different ideologies, then different philosophers, those who were promoting socialism, which we have already talked about, isn't it? Now in this, we will talk about in last session we also saw a short biography of Tsar Nicholas, isn't it? So henceforward, as and when any new character comes, in short, we will see his biography. So, and as and when any character comes, we will see what is the importance of him in Russian Revolution. Okay, so gradually we'll move towards that. So, in this lesson, now we are going to talk about socialism in Russia. So, let's talk about it. First of all, till 1914, all political parties they were illegal in Russia. How so? Because see, in 1905 there was Bloody Sunday and there was kind of revolution. So there was a demand of a new kind of parliament for Russia. Okay, so this chance is given to the workers or to the people in 1914. Okay, so till 1914 there was no any political party. Completely, complete monarchy was there. So unlike Europe, that is England, then France, where there was constitutional monarchy, then Austro-Hungarian Empire, okay, then you can see the example of Prussia, not Prussia actually, but these three examples that I told you, there was kind of constitutional monarchy, means monarch will be there, but he will be answerable to the parliament, to the elected members, okay. But till 1914, there was no such a system in Russia. So illegally, we can say, in 1898 by socialist Russian Social Democratic Workers Party. So now henceforward, I will call it RSDWP. Okay, Russian Socialist Democratic Workers Party was established. These socialists they respected the ideas of Marx and they thought that that kind of socialism should be there in Russia. But as there was complete monarchy in Russia, so monarch didn't want to share his power with anybody. He didn't want to become responsible or answerable to anybody. So he didn't share his power. So these socialist thinkers they had to make their party illegally. They established it illegally. So if it comes in the eyes of monarch or the spies of monarch, then they will be banished from the country. So it used to happen. So RSDWP they had to operate very secretly. So this political party they set up newspaper so that their agenda can be spread in the Europe in the Russia. They mobilize the workers, their thoughts, they convince them and organized strikes. But still, in this political party itself, there were two groups. One, the group of socialist revolutionary, and second, social democrats. So, who were they exactly, and what was the difference between their ideology and how this political party split afterwards, and they had to form another party. So, what was the difference between ideology? Let's talk about it. So, the people, Socialist Revolutionary Party, first we'll talk about this Socialist Revolutionary. These people said that Russians they are naturally socialist because of Mir system. What is a Mir system? I have told you in my last lecture. So they say that the peasants are force of revolution, not workers. Peasants can be the force of revolution, not workers. So peasants are going to be helpful for us. So we should bring them in our political party. There was a demand to give land to the farmers which belonged to nobility. Okay, so till these 3 points, there was not an issue. Now, the problem was in fourth point that party should be open to all. Socialist revolutionaries were thinking that party should be open to all So all the people from throughout the Russia, they can come in the political party and they can support us. That was the opinion of socialist revolutionaries. And such kind of people, those who were thinking like this, they were called Mensheviks. They were kind of moderates. Okay. And Julius Martov and Alexander Martinov, they were leader of them. I'm going to show their picture afterwards to you. Okay. So Mensheviks they were Julius Martov and Alexander Martinov. So this was the thought of socialist revolutionary. Now let's talk about social democrats, what they used to think. Social democrat says that some peasants are poor and some rich, some laborers and some employers. So peasants cannot be the force of revolution. Only workers are going to be there in the revolution. Okay, so that was the thought of social democrats. Then they were not agree with socialist revolutionary. They said that all cannot be the part of revolution. As if you talk about the peasants, then some peasants they are landlords, means some are employer and some are laborers. So there is a gap in between them. But the workers, they all are same. Okay, so they can be the force of revolution. So the party should be restricted for the entrance. So in political party, only specific people can come and they can be the workers. So the party should be confined, it should be controlled, it should be disciplined, it should not be open to all, it should go on very secretly. Okay, so in repressive society like czarist party should be disciplined, because if czar comes to know, if any person from their political party he does trickery, then all the political party or many of them, they have to suffer a lot, they will be banished from the country. So the political party should be controlled and disciplined, and we should control on number and quality of the members. Such kind of philosophy, or we can say opinion, the people they followed, they were called Bolsheviks. Okay, they were radicals and they wanted complete change, and leader of them was Vladimir Lenin. So when afterwards the Lenin comes, when revolution actually starts, then we'll talk about him. Okay, Vladimir Lenin. But still, as he has come here, so let me tell you something about him. Actually, it is said that many historians say like this, that Russian Revolution was actually only between two people. One was Lenin family, okay, and second it was between Nicholas too, that is uh, Romanov dynasty. Because what had happened, his brother, his name was also Alexander, Lenin's brother Alexander, he was very talented person, very talented. So they conspired and they killed Alexander one. So he was participant in that, Vladimir Lenin's brother Alexander. So openly, for his such kind of offense, he was tortured a lot and in front of his family he was killed. So to take revenge, Vladimir Lenin, he decided that one day I will kill whole his family. And of course in future he is going to do that, not with his own hands, but a person called uh, Yakov. Yeah, he was a soldier actually. His name was Yakov. He killed the family of Nicholas. Okay, so but actually Lenin, definitely behind this there was a hand of Lenin. Why they had to kill their family, that is different issue that we'll see afterwards. Okay, so in this way this is short and some facts about Vladimir Lenin. So his family was a kind of revolutionary family. All members from his family, they were kind of revolutionaries. Okay, so here you can see very historical pictures. So left side you can see they are socialist revolutionary. Okay, leaders of the Menshevik party at Norra Bantorget in Stockholm, Sweden. They are Pavel Axelrod, Julius Martov and Alexander Martinov. Okay, you can see their pair. And here he is, can you imagine, can you guess who is this? This is Stalin, Joseph Stalin. This is Vladimir Lenin, and this is Trotsky. Who were they? What exactly they did in Russian Revolution? Of course, we are going to talk about this. So what I want to tell you here, RSDWP, Russian Socialist Democratic Workers Party. It split afterwards in 1916. Okay, so but earlier when the party was established, at that time all these six people were in same party, but afterwards to it split, and these three groups it became separate. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the sequence of 1905 revolution. Okay, so what exactly happened there, how it happened, let me tell you. Okay, first of all, till 20th century, Tsar was not subject to the parliament. He was not answerable. Okay, so liberals and Democrats and revolutionaries, they demanded constitution in 1905 and supported by Polish nationalists and Jedidists. So who were they? See, means before 1905, as I told you earlier, in 1905 these people they asked for Duma or the parliament where people will be elected and the Tsar will be responsible or answerable to them. Okay, and this movement or this thought was also supported by Polish from Poland. Okay, and Jedidists, they were Muslims actually. Okay, but they followed the philosophy of Jedid. That's why they are called Jedidist. Okay, but they were Muslims. Then after, what happens in such a condition? Prices rose, then workers association rose, and in such a condition, Putilo Iron Works, it was one factory, and from that factory, four people they were just dismissed without any reason. Okay, I think they must have said something arrogantly to the leader, that's why they were just dismissed. So the people were so much furious about it, and that's why there was a big industrial action. Then after this, 110,000 workers led by Father Gepen. Okay, he was a leader, he was a father, and very peacefully these people they were going towards Winter Palace. Winter Palace, it is in Petersburg. So they just wanted to put their terms and conditions very peacefully in front of in front of Nicholas, their Tsar. They just wanted to see him, and directly they just wanted to put their points in front of Tsar. But unfortunately, on that day, Nicholas was not at home. So again, his name is Vladimir, I think. Yes, Vladimir. Yeah, yeah. So his uncle Vladimir. So he was in charge at that time, and his wife was there, Alexandrina. So they thought that if these people enter into the palace, then there can be anarchy. So they asked their soldiers to fire upon them. So in this, many people were killed. Okay, but actually these people they were not there to do any kind of strike, or they just wanted to put their demands in front of their own czar, their king. In mediator, they didn't want to go. Directly they wanted to put their points in front of him. So very peacefully they had come there and they wanted to put their conditions in front of the czar. Which was the condition? Which was the demands? That is reduction in working hours and increase in payment. But Father Gepen, workers' procession reached the Winter Palace, okay, and they all were led by Father Gepen, okay. So you can see here, he was a Father Gepen, and this is a Winter Palace. Actually, very big palace it is. And again, it was initiated by uh, Peter the Great, okay, when he established Petersburg city, and he gave his name to that city. In that city only, he started construction of this Winter Palace. So it took many years to get its what construction completed. Okay, so in this way you can see there is a river. It's a Volga river on the Neva river. Sorry, not Volga. Yes. So in this way, Russian Revolution 1905 is going to start now. Okay. So on this day, Many people were killed because of the firing of the soldiers. So this day is called Bloody Sunday. On the day of Sunday it happened, that's why it is called Bloody Sunday. So my dear students, this revolution of 1905, it was a prelude to a big revolution. Okay, so which is that big revolution which is going to take place in 1916, after 1916. Okay, so 1905, it was prelude to that. So Bloody Sunday happened, and again there was another scar on the character of Nicholas II. First scar I told you about on his coronation. Okay, so here you can see Putilo Iron Works, how this Lenin is inspiring the people. Then you can see this is a picture of that day, means Bloody Sunday. You can see how they are firing. It's a historical picture, huh? How they are firing and people are just dying there. Okay, and behind the soldiers there is Winter Palace. See how they are just running away. So this was the condition at that time. So without listening to their problems, they were just killed, and many are wounded. Okay, so after this, what exactly happened? When after Bloody Sunday strikes, there was, of course, there was a fury among the people, and that's why throughout Russia there were strikes, universities were closed, students were complaining about civil liberty, lawyers, doctors, engineers, and middle class workers. They established Union of Unions and demanded Constituent Assembly. Now the people, they are fervently asking for National Assembly. Okay, means Republic. So to this, what was the reaction of Tsar? Tsar allowed creation of an elected consultative parliament, that is Duma, kind of parliament. And many committees and unions worked unofficially as they declared illegal after 1905 because of uh, because such a procession, all the people are coming together, they were declared illegal. So advisor of Tsar Nicholas, they advised him that in England also, in France also, there is a constitutional monarchy. So if there is a demand among the people, so we can give them. So finally he gets convinced and he gave the right to the people of Duma. But severe restrictions were there on this political activity. And Tsar Nicholas, means if he wants to abolish this Duma, then anytime he can abolish that right was kept with him. So you can see Duma was dismissed within 75 days, means hardly 3 months. After 75 days the Duma was dismissed, first Duma. Then within 3 months Duma was again re-elected, because Tsar wanted that there should be no question to his power, and that's why changed voting system and packed third Duma. So when third Duma was elected, in that Duma he just appointed conservative politicians, those who supported Tsar, liberals, and they were liberals and revolutionaries, they were just kept out. So in this way, third Duma was completely packed by conservative politicians. So in this way, you can see this was a bypass to the people. Now we'll talk about, so in such a condition, this time passes away, but because of such a cunning way to deceive the people, or just packing the parliament by conservatives only, again there was a fury among the people. They realized this, that the Nicholas II is playing with them. So, but still, as he is Tsar, he has military, and suddenly they can't oppose him, isn't it? So at that time, Stylopine, there was a person, and very one famous word is there, Stylopine's necktie. Anybody confronts the Tsar, if anybody raises the question, then Stylopine, he was advisor of Nicholas II, he used to hang them. That's why this term was coined, Stylopine's necktie. Okay, means people will be hanged. So in such a condition, in such a fury, First World War starts. How it starts, you know very well, so that's not our topic again, so I will not go in those details. But still, if you want to know about it, so when our lesson will start Nazism, okay, in that we'll discuss about it. Okay, so first World War started, and Russian Empire, what was the relation? Let's talk about it. Without consulting Duma, Nicholas decided that we will wage the war, and he supported Serbia. Okay, and in such a condition, there was anti-German sentiments among the Russians because the war was going on between Russians and Germans. Of course, Russian will hate Germans, but the point is where to put down this hate, this hatred. So, do you remember Alexandrina? She was German. Okay, so they had unrest among the people. Then Rasputin, he was also, means earlier he used to calm down his son Alexei, but afterwards he also started giving political advices to the Tsar Nicholas. So there was also fury among the people. He was, as he was from Siberia, but actually his ethnicity was from German. So Alexandrina, German wife of Nicholas, and Rasputin was an advisor. So autocracy was becoming unpopular day by day. And again, how there was a hatred among the people for Germany, you will see here that earlier the name of the city was St. Petersburg. That St. Petersburg was renamed and new name was given to it, that was Petrograd. Okay, so in this way anti-German sentiments were growing in Russia, and finally in 1916 Rasputin, he was killed by the people. Okay, so he was very interesting figure. Okay, let it be. uh, which were the alliances? So you can see the First World War was fought between Allied powers and Central powers. So Central powers, that is Austro-Hungarian Empire, German Empire, Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire, that is Turkey, okay, and Bulgaria. So against this, which countries rose? That is Russia. Then from West, France, United States, then Belgium, British Empire, and Serbia. So all these countries, they just came into war, and Germany was defeated, of course. Okay, but when all this was going on, the condition of Russia was very poor, very poor. So here you can see major powers of WW1. You can see the map. Okay, just take the screenshot of this and you can study it afterwards. Chalo, now I will show you one short clip of World War One here. So just observe it properly. It's a This is a real documentary of that time. Okay, so you can see how the war was fought at that time, how severe condition was there, and still how the soldiers were protecting their motherland. So at that time, means there was invention of dynamites also. Okay, and still cavalry was prominent. So when this war was being fought, Russia was not that much developed. So afterwards, you will come to know that in Western countries, those people, they were fighting from the trenches, but Russian soldiers, they were just standing on the land, and that's why there were so many casualties. And afterwards, these Russian soldiers, they are just retreating back to their motherland, and those who were doing revolution in Russia 1916, they just joined them. Okay, you can see here, these are Russian soldiers. So these are some glimpses of First World War, how they used to sit in trenches. Okay, how they used cannons and wagons. 22 million people were wounded. Okay, so such a tremendous condition it was. Here we will stop. Okay, so if you want to see such videos, you can go on YouTube and you will get it, many videos. Okay, chalo, fine. So after this World War One, Russian, they had to retreat. Okay, because of poor conditions. Chalo, fine. Here we'll stop here. Next part of Russian Revolution, actually today we talk about First World War and the beginning, prelude of Russian Revolution. 1905, it was a prelude, introduction to the Russian Revolution. But main revolution is going to take place now, and that we will see in our next lecture. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.